You're now listening to Let's Face It with Will Strayhorn and friends. Now back to the show.
Well, we're back. Our guest is on the line, Mr. John Patrick Adams. He is an author, composer, pianist, blogger, certified life coach, motivational speaker, and those those are just a few of the hats that he wears. As a native of Dallas, Texas, he wrote a book called Naked, which we're going to talk about tonight, in 2013, where he takes us along a journey, basically, to transparency, dealing with complications of love, positive self-worth, moving forward from your past mistakes, and living life with purpose. So I asked him here today, I've been going through a couple things, a bad breakup for the past year, June 8th actually being the 1 year anniversary. And through his online blog platform, The Truth Bowl, I read a couple of his blogs that seemed to be amazing. So I wanted to talk to him tonight and bring him on the show. So please welcome to Let's Face It for the very first time, Mr. John Patrick Adams. How are you, John?
I'm great, Will. How are you? Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for calling in. So I just want to start. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how you became a life coach.
Okay. Again, thank you for having me. And my name again is John Patrick Adams. And my journey started maybe about, I guess, almost 6 years ago. And I just started out. I was, pretty much had reached a point in my life where I wanted to, see my life change and start going in a different direction. Mm-hmm. So from there, I started writing. I started out blogging, and once I started out blogging, my blogging eventually turned into a book. And I wanted people to really know that I was serious about what I was doing. So opposed to just being a guy that's out there randomly blogging, I went through this certification process to become a certified life coach because, again, I really want to, help people, live their own truth and be the best person they can be. And that's pretty much how, it all came to pass.
Okay. So the video that someone sent me through YouTube is when you were basically talking about living an authentic life. And I hear that a lot, people talking about walking in your truth, living an authentic life. For people who don't necessarily get that, because I'm just now starting to get it, what does that mean when people say live an authentic life or live your truth in your own words?
It just means pretty much, embracing who you are and really, really accepting, your flaws, your perfections, and so forth, and getting out of the mindset of having to please everyone else and live up to standards and morals and perceptions and so forth, and just, find that place where you are happy, with you, just 100% happy in whatever that truth is, because I think a lot of times people, as Christians, the church tells us who we should be.
Right.
Growing up, our parents tell us who we should be. And, once we, get, older, we struggle with our own true selves because secretly or inwardly we know that that person that we're told that we should be, that's not who we are. And you have to get to that point where you just say, I'm just going to be me. And you can't worry about if people are going to accept you or if they're going to reject you. You just have to be you because the people, one thing I've learned is authenticity attracts authenticity. Mm-hmm. And if you want to get around other people that are, living their own truth, you have to live your own and send that out, and you will attract that.
What were you saying, Paula?
That is so true. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm 56, and I just fell in love with my own self. I just learned how to love me, and I'm so proud to talk about that because it does take people a long time to really get to know themselves. And I love myself so much at this point I can date my own self. That's just the truth of the matter. But the type of person that I am, and I want to ask you this, I'm really flexible in my thinking, and I'm the type of person, I'll let you do you and let you do your thing and let you be you and love you where you are. And I think sometimes people think that that's the wrong thing to do, but because I'm a respecter of person, and I think that that's okay. And I've learned to be that way because you're not going to be the way that I want you to be but you're not. Everybody is made differently, but I'm going to love you where you are until you decide that you want to change, or whatever it is that you want to do. Just be that, and I'm cool with that.
Right, and Paul, I really think what you just said, loving people where they are, I think that is like so wonderful, because so many people are just looking for someone to accept them for who they truly are. You know, no facade, no mask, just, you know, the person who they can just go to and just, you know, take, you know, just strip down and expose themselves. People are really just looking to be embraced, you know, for who they are. No judgments, no, you know, no rejection, just love me. And I think once we reach that point where we can love people for who they are, we'll see a lot of more happy people.
And I think once you get a certain age, because I'm in the second phase of my life, you begin to mellow out, because the thing of it is, where I am right now, it's all about making memories and long-lasting memories. And you just begin to realize what's important and what's not important. And what's important is that you want to live your last day, just like Allen Iverson told me, like it's your last, and forget about the past and just go with what's going on right now.
Right. You know what? For me, and I was telling John a couple of things. You know, growing up all my life, in my family, appearances were important. So, you know, we all learned how to fit the mold of what our family was supposed to represent. And unfortunately, I've carried that into my adulthood. You know, I'm 45 now. And, you know, when Nikki comes to get her hair done, you know, we have all these good, we're each other's life coaches. So we had a conversation the other week, and I was like, you know, I really feel what's holding me back is that I'm not really fully walking in my truth. I know that myself. And I try to, I don't know if I'm struggling with something or what, or if I'm just struggling with the fact that I know I know along the journey to me living my truth that some people are going to fall by the wayside. That's just how it is. And I don't know if I'm afraid of the rejection. I don't know if I'm afraid of disappointing some people. I don't know what the issue is.
But I don't think that should be the case, though, because if they love Will and love you for who you are, they shouldn't fall back. If they're falling back to me, I think that's selfish, because you don't understand Will. But on the same token, they want you to understand them and where they are. They should be able to reciprocate the same thing. And I think that's where the problem comes in. You want me to do you, but you don't want to do me.
So what do you say, John?
Exactly. And Will, the funny thing is, you just said you don't know if you're afraid of rejection, but you are rejecting your own self. So it's ironic. We're afraid of someone else rejecting us, but when we're not living our own truth and we're not walking in who we really are, we are rejecting our own selves. And, you know, so there's still a form of rejection there. And, you know, I've learned that it's amazing we go through life and we believe that people are going to reject us and maybe they're not going to accept or love the person that we are. But you'll be surprised. People will love you more when you are authentically you and you are being true to who you know you're supposed to be, because as long as you are living in the shell, you're really not even giving those people the opportunity to get to know you, to know whether or not they are not going to like you. So, you know, you have to just, like I said, reach that point where it's not important what other people think about you. If God is pleased with the person you are and you're living who you believe He created you to be, what anyone else thinks, that's not your concern.
Yeah.
But why? Can I ask you a question, John? But I mean, I understand what you're saying, but we are concerned about what people think about us. It's important to us, and how can you separate that? Because, you know, it's important to me what Will thinks, because I'm going to ask him a question and he's going to give me the honest answer because it's important to me. So, I mean, I kind of disagree with that a little.
Okay, and I get that, but I think that we shouldn't care about what someone thinks if it's going to hinder us from being who we truly are, because, you know, these people are being who they think they should be.
Right.
So why can't you be who you think you should be based on their thoughts and their opinions? Right. And one thing I have learned is that people are fickle. So if you're going to be living your life based on what others think, you're going to be on a constant emotional roller coaster because day by day people think or judge you based on how they're feeling at the moment.
Right.
And when I first started my journey, one of the first books I read was the 4 Agreements. And one of the agreements is take nothing personal. And the reason they say take nothing personal is because one day Paula Will can come to you and say, wow, you're beautiful. I mean, I love the way your hair or the way you look in that dress. And he's feeling good, so that's how he sees you. So maybe a month later you have the same dress on, your hair is exactly the same, but Will had a bad moment. And Will, at that moment, his perception of you is completely different based on how he's feeling at the moment. So he may not give you that same response. So I've learned when someone gives me a compliment, I'm happy. When they give me a criticism, I'm happy because I know at any moment it's subject to change.
That was powerful.
That was true.
Yeah, that was true.
But let me ask you this question. Okay, so I have a huge testimony that I'm just sitting on. And I talked to Nikki about it. I know a lot of people will be blessed by some of the health things I've been through, some of the legal things I've been through, some of the things with depression, suicide. I'm telling you now, but, things that I'm sitting on, but I'm like, oh, my God, what are they going to think? What would they think if they know? That's what I'm thinking about. So I want to know, so to live authentically, do you have to tell all your business? Is that what living authentic is?
I don't think you need to tell everything.
No, you don't tell your business, and I think that's where a lot of people make their mistakes a lot of times is because they think in order to be transparent, you have to go out and tell people this is who I am, this is what I've done, and so forth. And I think it's a difference in telling your testimony and telling your business. And most times people tell their business. The testimony is the triumph over your previous situations. You don't have to go into great detail and tell people everything that got you to the place that you are. It's not all about that. It's about where you are and how you overcame. It's not always about what you overcame. And I think that's what a lot of us, we believe that in order for people to relate to us, we have to tell them every single detail. And I'm a firm believer, some things is just for God to know.
Right.
Not even your parents, not even your closest friends, because friends are here today again, and people are fickle, so they'll feel one way one day and the next day feel another. So you just, you don't have to tell your business to tell your testimony.
Okay.
That's true. Let me ask you another question. You being a life coach, and I've always wanted to ask, I know so many people that are life coaches, how do you, after listening to everybody's issues and counseling, how do you get relief from all of that? What is your outlet?
I constantly read. I constantly read because I read other bloggers' blogs as well, or I'm constantly watching things that are inspirational, and then I always try to surround myself with people who are inspiring as well, because I've always been in church my entire life. I've always been in church, and I'm a musician, and I've always led choirs. And when you're in those positions, you are always, faced with dealing with other people's problems or listening to other people's problems. So what I do to replenish myself is, I have to get away from it, separate myself, and sometimes I may not even watch television or anything like that, and I'll just come home and just, like I said, I'll read, because I have to read stuff that motivates me, that motivates me to continue to, help other people, because there are times that it is draining. So I read a lot. I watch a lot of videos on YouTube, or I listen to music, or, and when I listen to music, I'm just not listening to the melodies. I always try to listen to the lyrics, and that seems to inspire me and re-energize me.
Wow. That's great. We all need to do that. That's what I think.
Okay, so
yeah, I agree.
Let's move into this help fix my life situation.
Yeah, let's fix us, John. Fix us.
Yes. Okay, so John, I told you, Next Wednesday is going to be a day that y'all going to have to check on me.
Okay.
So June 8th, this marks the 1-year anniversary that me and my ex broke up, or I broke up with my ex. Life has been pure hell for me ever since then, emotionally. It's been an emotional roller coaster ride. I feel like, I used to tell people that I feel like I wasted 16 years of my life in this relationship. After reading one of your blogs, I gave you the best of me that you wrote on April 7th. I see that, that the relationship did serve a purpose. Unfortunately, my situation, we own a business together. I see the person all the time.
Right.
The person wants to maintain the friendship, which I don't mind. But I'm still yearning for the relationship and trying to separate and move on. 16 years ago, I was young. I was looking good.
You still look good, boy.
Body was right, and everything, was where it was. And, things have changed. So I'm finding myself having to start all over again, dating again. All these apps weren't out. Back then, Black People Meet, stuff like that.
.com.
Weren't even out back then. Finding myself starting over again and in these rebound relationships that aren't working out. How do I move on? What's your advice, John? I read the blog. I read I gave you the best of me. How do I move on? What do I do? I need to I'm approaching a year. I need to put this behind me.
Well, 16 years is a lot of your life, so it's not going to happen it could happen in a year, it could happen in 5 years, it could happen in 8 years. It all depends on how bad you're wanting to get out of that situation. Mm-hmm. It's really up to you, how quick you get over it. And most times when we come out of relationships, I always tell people, when you come out of a situation, whether it was a good or a bad relationship, you need to take time to get to know the person you are today, the person you are now that you're out of that relationship, because every time we come out of a situation, we come out of it different than what we went into it. And especially if it was a situation that ended, badly or abruptly or something like that, we have a lot of baggage, when we come out of a situation. So I always encourage people, before you even start dating people, before you even get back out in the dating scene, get to know the person you are today. And once you get to know that person, and you have to start first by forgiving yourself. You have to forgive yourself for staying in that situation as long as you did.
Right.
Because I'm quite sure there may have been times that you knew that you needed to walk away from the relationship,
True.
But you stayed in it because of hope. Things getting better, and then I don't know exactly why you came out of the relationship. And to be honest with you, it really doesn't even matter why you came out of the relationship. At this point, the only thing that matters is that you are out of it, and your whole life is ahead of you. The life that you're going to know now is ahead of you. So you have to, embrace who you are, and embracing who you are, embrace that. You have to, tell yourself, maybe I was a fool in that relationship, and maybe I did take a lot of stuff that I shouldn't have taken while in that relationship, but why did I take that? And these are the things that most times we don't want to get to the core of the problem. We want to blame the external factor for things that are really internal, because, what keeps us in relationships so long when maybe they're not good for us? And they feel good at that moment. They feel good while we're in there. And the funny thing about that is they feel so good that time is passing us by so quickly because we get lost in time. And then there are those instances where, we stay in situations, like I said, unhealthy situations for us. We stay in unhealthy situations, and we are looking for someone to, like we talked about at the beginning, to accept us. And when we're in relationships...
Yeah. Validation.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
That validation.
Yeah, validation. We're looking for that person that is going to love us completely. And it's funny, we always say, we hear people, I want that person to complete me and fill the void in me. I don't want anybody to fill a void in my life. I want to go into a relationship complete and whole, and I want that person to enhance my attributes.
Right.
I don't want you to complete me. I want you to enhance me, bring out even greater in me. And most times we're just looking for love, and that love that we're looking for should be love that we're giving ourselves. So, Will, what I would encourage you to do at this point in your life, you're out of the relationship, take some time. Don't try to jump back in it. And people believe the best way to get over somebody is to be under somebody or to be on top of somebody or to be with somebody.
Hey,
That's not the best way.
I found that out.
Those are only distractions.
Yeah.
They're distracting you from moving forward. They are, occupying your mind temporarily.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to get out of it and, clear your mind and then detox them. Detox that person out of your life. And that takes time, especially after 16 years. That's longer than some people live.
Yeah.
So to be in a relationship for 16 years, and like you said, you got in there, you were 29 years old. You were kind of like what you believe is your prime or what can be considered your prime. You utilize your whole entire 30s in a relationship that ends when you're in your 40s.
Right.
And during this time, like you said, your body has changed and, you look at yourself differently and you be like, dang, I could have been doing X,
Exactly.
Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that you have to learn sometimes, Will, is that even these bad situations we believe are time wasters and they utilize some of the best years of our lives, sometimes those situations are protection as well. And they're protection from ourselves because if we were free and able to do a lot of the stuff that we wanted or thought we should be doing, there's no telling where your life would be today. It could be completely different. You may not be hosting a radio show that's impacting other people's lives. So you have to go through that to be where you are today. So I really believe that once you get to that place that you embrace those 16 years and find the lessons in those, what you perceive as being a failure, you're going to realize that you are the best you today.
And, one of the things, I've been married. I'm getting ready to celebrate my anniversary on June 13th. And my husband and I dated when I was 18 and, back and forth. He got married. I was supposed to get married. But we were always, like, real cool best friends. I could talk to him about anything.
Yeah.
But, when we got married, we went through our peaks and our valleys. And, right now it's just like where it should be. We're having fun. We're enjoying ourselves. But one thing that I learned watching Oprah, because I'm an Oprah fan too, that really resonated with my spirit, and I learned this many, many years ago, is that I always look for my husband to make me happy. It's not his responsibility to make me happy. It's my responsibility. And I think in a relationship, when we stop putting so much responsibility on the other person and respect their place where they are at that time, that's when it comes to, you have to be flexible in your thinking. It makes the relationship better. And that's just a learning lesson. And once you start learning those things and learn their love language, I think things will be a lot better. But because we have so much expectation on our mates, and then another thing, what you said too, is that like your ex, even though this cracks me up too, you can say that I'm this, I'm that, complain about all these things, but then when you go to the next joker, they got the same thing. Or, you're going to find out their dark side, and you're going to say, oh, I should have stayed over there, because everybody has a dark side. Everybody thinks the grass is green on the other side, and it's not. Because you always have to learn that person's dark side. Because they're going to give you the peanut butter and fluff in the beginning, but when that dark side come up, you're going to be like, I should have stayed exactly where I was at.
Yeah. You know what? And that's funny that you said that, because looking back now over a year, what I broke up with them about, I should have just gotten over it. I should have really just, and it doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong. It's just the fact of what happened. And, after 16 years, if it was happening again now, I would have just gotten over it. I would have taken some time and just gotten over it.
That's when that unconditional love comes in. That's when that flexibility, that's when it comes knowing your mate. But the thing that we fail to realize, that I realized, you got to look at that man in the mirror. I can't hold you, my mate, to a higher standard than I hold myself, and that's what we do. Yeah. And then we forget that we've done things, and then we forget to forgive. Don't forget what you did to me. Okay, because my mother said, like she said, I'm from Missouri, the show me state. You know what I mean? I can show you, but I can tell you. My mom always says that. But the thing of it is that we forget.
Yeah.
So you have to stop, which is another life lesson for me, and look at the man in the mirror. And then that comes with not being judgmental.
Yeah.
And then once you realize that, because my mate is not perfect. You know, I can complain and we can always make them look like the bad guy because we have a tendency just to talk about the negative stuff and not the great stuff. But if you go to write down everything on paper, it all evens itself out. What do you think, John?
I agree. And I mean, like you said something really great. We have to accept people for where they are.
Yeah.
You know, no one is perfect, and we're not perfect. And once you accept people for where they are, embrace them, you'll really see the brighter side of your situation opposed to all the negativity. So I agree with you 100%.
Exactly, because the thing, I mean, it's just a respected person. I like to tap dance. I don't expect my husband to come tap dancing with me because he doesn't like to tap dance. You know, am I going to go out and find somebody just because he doesn't like to do it? I'm going to go on the other side because he doesn't like to tap dance? No, I'm not going to do that. You know, I don't like watching sports. You know, that's his thing. That's what he likes to do. You have to give each other room for your personal space for what you like to do and respect that. I may not want to join in with you, but I respect what you do and you go ahead and do your thing. You know what I mean? And I'll check on you later. But again, that's a life lesson and a growing mechanism.
You know, in one of John's blog, Perfect versus Right, which was done on May 16th, he was talking about Beyonce's CD Lemonade. Have you listened to Lemonade?
I heard about it.
Yeah, I watched the video and everything. You know, everybody's talking about, you know, she's talking about Jay-Z, blah, blah, blah,
Cheating
about the
on her,
relationship.
yeah.
But what she's still there. She realized, you know, that they're better together. And, John, you know, you wrote this, and I just read it. I sent it to a couple people. I posted it on our website, on the Facebook pages, and people were just saying, you know what, that's a great way to look at it. And sometimes you have to realize that you're just better together. Do you mind talking about, just summarizing what you were talking about in Perfect versus Right on your blog?
Yeah, I just think that a lot of times when we are dating, we're looking for the perfect person, and that perfect person is pretty much based off of the list of things that we think we want. You know, we know how we want the person to look, we know what we want them to have, and so forth. We know we have all of these lists that, you know, we check off, and I was about to say it's mostly women that do it, but men do it as well. We have this list of all of these qualities we want. And this, once we make this person up, it's the perfect person that we believe is for us. But when you look at the right person is that person, again, like Paula was just saying, that recognizes that you're not perfect. They see they see the flaws in you, and they're willing to love you for where you are. And you, the right person, like Jay-Z, everybody's going on about how Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce, but Beyonce understands that this person is a creative genius. He is a mogul. He's able to see talent in me and help me go to a higher level. And I think Beyonce could probably, you know, stand on her own. That's true.
Right.
She can do that. But the two of them together, they're unbelievable because their inner being complements each other. And a lot of times we're not looking for that person that is good for us. We're looking for that person that looks good to everyone else, that looks good to us, but not good for us. And, you know, having somebody that's good on paper versus having somebody that's really going to be good in your life,
Have your back.
you should choose the person, the person
Right.
that's going to be good for you in life, not on paper, because you're going to live with that person, you know. So the right person is a person that is going to accept you for who you are, and that's going to love you for who you are, and that is going to bring out the best in you. And I think,
That's right.
again, most times we are looking for
You can get it
the
back.
perfect person, and that's what we mess up.
That's where the forgiveness comes in.
I
And,
forgave. They ain't forgave.
well, see, that's the problem. And the thing of it is that you just like I just wrote in my post earlier, you have to forgive, because at the end of the day, when your life is almost over, you're not going to think about any of that. You're going to think about, and I got this from my dad before he died. He was saying that my mom and dad were divorced. He was like, out of everybody, out of his whole entire life, my mom was the best woman. and he did things that were not right. But at the end of the day, he recognized that. He felt bad, you know what I mean, for what he had done and put her through. But he knew that was the best woman for her, because my mom took care of my dad when he was dying of prostate cancer, and there was nobody else there. That's how you know you have a ride or die. You know, who's going to take care of me? If I get sick, who do you want to be there for you?
Right.
You know what I mean? All right, John, one of the questions that I wanted to know, what inspired you to write your book, Naked?
I had, like I said, before I wrote the book, I had been blogging for a year. And when I first started blogging, I was just writing my journey. Every day it was myself and 3 other friends. We all started this blogging site, and it was called Christian Blogger Cafe. And most times when I wrote, I would always just write what was happening in my life at that very moment when I was writing the blog. And so as I continued to write and I stayed on my journey, you know, and I began to see how it felt to, you know, really strip myself of the facade and just live me and just not worry so much about what everyone else was thinking, the person I should be. Then that inspired me to write the book Naked, because Will said something earlier. I mean, my father was a pastor of a church, so my entire life, you know, it was always light, camera, action.
Right.
You know, when we went to church, we had to be a certain way, and, you know, you go to school, you had to be a certain way. And I went that, you know, through my entire life living it like that. So once I reached that point, I was 38 at the time, and I had listened to a sermon by Bishop Noel Jones, and it was called Renewing Your Mind. And the sermon was talking about the man at the Bethesda pool and how Jesus came to him and he asked him, do you want to be made whole? And Jesus knew the answer, but he asked the man because the man had to make a choice. Do you want to be healed? He wanted to be healed. And so what inspired me to write the book was, as I started going through my journey, I wanted to help other people, you know, get to that place where they could start living in the truth of who they are, whoever that is. You know, just live and be free to who you are. So that's how the book came about, is just pretty much stripping yourself of the perceptions and the morals and just living your own truth.
Okay. Now, and what are a few of, if you can just give us an inside peek, what are the few of the takeaways that you want the readers to really grasp from reading this book?
The 2 of the things, and it's pretty much all the same, is pretty much forgiveness, and that's, you know, pretty much forgiving yourself for, you know, allowing some of the things to happen in your life. You have to forgive yourself for that, and then you also forgive the people who did some of those things, you know, to you. And then also the second thing would be just embrace yourself. Embrace who you are and embrace your past. And I think that's the most difficult part for people, is because when they look at their past and their past looks so dark, it's like we look at it and we say, nobody is going to love someone who's done all of this. No one is going to love this person. And so once you embrace your past and you know, forgive yourself for it, and you take those chains off of it, because most times we're afraid that someone is going to expose us to our past and our dark secrets. But once you take that power away from them, we're just embracing that and saying, that's who I was at the time, and because of that, that's who it has made me who I am today. That takes that power away from people. People can't hold your past over you if you don't let them. You have to embrace it and say, that's who I was, I made some mistakes, and that's not who I am today, and I'm moving forward.
Okay, John, where can we purchase your book?
You can purchase my book on my site, johnpatrickadams.com, and every book is autographed, and it ships the same day, and or you can post it on my publisher site, which is Poetic Expression. It's spelled a little bit different, but it's PAUXETIC, expressions.com. So you can get the books there, either my site or on my publisher site.
And they can follow you from the johnpatrickadams.com as well, right?
Yep, I'm on all facets of social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm on everything. So yeah, they can follow me from directly from my site.
What about the Truth Bowl? Can they get to you? Where can they get more about that? Is that still?
And actually, we're getting ready to start back filming the Truth Bowl, where we took like a little break. It's myself and a team.
Okay.
We took a little break from filming it, but we're actually about to get ready to start back filming the Truth Bowl, and they can find us on YouTube because Truth Bowl is pretty much a video platform. So they can find us on the YouTube, the Truth Bowl, and we're, like I said, we're getting ready to start back up with that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, John, I want to thank you for coming on to the show. Hopefully, you'll be able to come back because I do definitely want to have you back on to talk about your other book that you did in 2015, How to Win the Dating Game.
Okay.
You know, after I do all this work that you want me to do, you know, getting to know myself, people keep saying this is a time for you to get to know you.
Yeah, date yourself.
What?
Yeah.
Girl, you sound silly.
I'm
What?
sorry.
Yeah.
You have to, right,
Yeah,
John?
what you afraid of, Will?
I don't know.
Jump out there, do your thing, boo.
I
Yeah,
guess.
if you can't date you, how can somebody else
You
date
know
you?
what?
Right.
Right. And I read that you said that you've mastered the game of dating, so you're really good at it. All right, so I'm gonna have to get. I'm gonna have to come get one of your sessions, so I can figure out exactly.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to thank you for coming on to the show. Hopefully, you'll come back again. Do you have any final
Thank you.
words before you go?
Just live your own truth. And again, thank you, Will, for having me. And thank you, Paula. It was great talking with you on tonight as well.
You as well.
All right.
It was awesome.
You have a good evening.
You too.
See you, John.